All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. All right, so in today's live stream, we'll go over what we can expect from the market this week. CPI data is coming out, PPI data is coming out, so that's going to be very important for the rate cut coming at the end of the month. So exciting to get those numbers. It is the weekend, so not much has happened, obviously, for equities. The stock market is closed, but crypto, if we look at Bitcoin, I think it's sitting above, let's see. I think it's sitting above, yeah, it's above 90K. It's at 90,770. So very positive. I think if it holds that, it's a good chance in the next coming weeks that we get over 100K, which is kind of like that psychological mark. Remember, we were above 100K for a long time. 126K was the highest. So yeah, I think if we can hold that 90K range, we could see 100K here pretty soon. Over the weekend, we did see AI cryptos move up. I think that's going to be a very strong narrative going into 2026 as it was in 2025. I just think you need to be in the right project. So yeah, those actually did really well this weekend. Okay, so that's the crypto update. This morning, crypto's kind of selling off a little bit. Altcoins, Bitcoin is still holding steady, but it looks like the altcoins that pumped Saturday are starting to sell off. So yeah, and that's usually what happens. You get usually if altcoins pump over the weekend, it usually sells off as we come into the week. There's just not as much liquidity on the weekends. Now, obviously, crypto's open 24/7, but people kind of take off during the week, and there's not as much trading value going into the weekend. So that's why it's easy to pump the price, and it is also easy for the price to come back down, right? Okay, so let's talk about what we can expect this week. So Tuesday, consumer price index, December inflation reading. So remember, we're in January, so the reading's going to be for December. This is the first meaningful inflation report in months following data disruptions due to the government shutdown. And yeah, remember, the government shutdown was for a good part of the last part of the year in 2025. So we didn't end up getting data to see if we were going to get more rate cuts. Obviously, we got a rate cut in December, but going into the new year, a lot of that data we didn't get. So they were kind of just going with like, okay, well, we'll do this last rate cut in December. And then once we start getting more economic data in January, we'll make a decision. Because right now, if we look at the Fed Watch tool, I think we're probably still around 16 to 18% chance of getting a rate cut here in January. Let's take a look at it. Wow, 4.4%. So it's 4.4%. And that's because we're a week in January, and it was like 14 to 18%. So I just think people are expecting not to get a rate cut this month, no matter what the jobs numbers say or the inflation data says. I think we're just on track to not get a rate cut this month, which in my opinion is fine because we already got 3 back-to-back. So I think those are going to take effect here in the new year. We didn't see the immediate effect of those rate cuts because they usually take a few months to hit the market and for it to actually affect consumers. So I think it's fine that we don't get a rate cut this month, but I think we will get a few more this year, especially once we get a new Fed chair. And also, I think remember, he did cut rates 3 times last year. So I think if any economic data comes out that suggests we should be getting a rate cut, we will get a rate cut. Let me check my mic just to make sure everything is working correctly. Cut rates 3 times last year. So I think if any economic data comes out that suggests we should be getting a rate cut, we will get a rate cut. Let me check my mic just to make... All right, looks like my mic is working pretty good. Yeah, so so Tuesday, January 13th, we get the consumer price index. Wednesday, we're going to get the producer price index report. and retail sales, December consumer spending data, and then Thursday, January 15th, we're going to get weekly initial job claims, which I think that's going to be the most important piece of data. Obviously, CPI data is important, but remember the Fed has switched what they're focusing on. They're focusing on job claims, job numbers, and trying to stabilize the job market. Obviously, inflation is still part of their mandate, but they want to make sure that the job market is stable. So that's Thursday, weekly initial job claims. Friday, January 16th, industrial production capacity utilization. So we get that. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We get that CPI, we get that PPI, which is, they're very important pieces of economic data, and then that jobless claims numbers and that as well. So just look out for that. I don't think the Fed cut percentage, that I don't think that's going to change. I think that's still going to stick to the low under 10%. I don't think we're going to get a rate cut this month, and I don't think anything that we get as far as economic data is going to change that. So yeah, that's just my opinion. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going into the second week of January. I think the way we end this month is going to show how we're going to begin the new year. I think if Bitcoin can get over 100K, I think that will suggest that we're going to have a bull market this year. But if it stays, if it dips below 90K, I think it could be a tell sign that maybe we entered a bear market. But I think it looks pretty strong. And also, I think we get the Clarity Act this week as well, or something about the Clarity Act moving forward, or getting closer to be signed into law. So I think that's very important as well, especially for the crypto market. So that's something to pay attention to. I'll be looking out for that. Yeah, and I think a lot of people that are invested in crypto are waiting for that Clarity Act, because essentially within it, it gives a lot more clarity as far as crypto regulation, how selling goes, and what's considered a gain, and just all these rules that were unclear are supposed to be addressed in that act. So if we could get that this week, and it favors crypto investors, I think that will definitely trigger Bitcoin to go over 100K. That's just my opinion. And then it'll affect the altcoins. I think it's actually more bullish for altcoins, because Bitcoin is kind of considered a blue chip. So I think this Clarity Act is more for those altcoins, things like Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, all those big secondary blue chips. I think those, and then anything that comes under that, I think just for the altcoin market in general, it's going to be very bullish. So yeah, that's my take on what we should look out for this week. And yeah, let's play a few games of chess. And I got my rating, my blitz score over 1300, so happy about that. It took a long time. I think what I'm seeing is people that are in the 1200s, they really look to end the game quickly. They look for these tricks and things like that. So you got to be really careful in the opening, and make sure that you're protecting your pieces, protecting the king, castling early. But the thing about castling early with these people in the 1200s, they attack that side so quick. So you really need to attack the middle, and make sure that you are now opening up the king for being checkmated, right? That's just my take on it. Okay, so let's start. Oops. That was my bad right there. But he didn't see it. See, I would usually like panic when the pawn's here, like coming down like this. But now what I realize is just kind of, if you're not in danger, you don't really have to address it. But, when it gets that close, you're like, ugh. So, so this I'm probably going to have to address. So let's see. Okay. I think that's a free piece. Or maybe it's not. Oh, darn it. Um, I think I messed up for sure. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's see, because it's looking kind of tricky here. I didn't think I had to address those pawns that was coming down because I didn't feel two, but now it's looking kind of iffy here. Let's do that. Let's do that. He may come back down again. Wow. I can't believe I lost that. That was crazy. I can't believe I lost that. 10 seconds left. So I wonder what I could have did here. So when he did this, I don't even think I could have did anything. I couldn't have taken there. That was checkmate. I was supposed to do something here. When he came down, I needed to I needed to do this, I think. Because then if he did that, I could have did that. And then, well, no, this would have been checked. No, it wouldn't. I could have taken that. Darn it, I didn't think. My goodness. Okay. Oh, darn it. People just take wins any way they can get them. Yeah, I just gotta make sure I'm not. That was just a misclick right there. Just gotta be more careful. All right, let's get rid of that. I'm okay if he tries to take there. I'm okay with that. Yeah, you gotta take now. Here. Here. Oh no. That was a farce right there. I just need to. Wow. If I throw this game away, that's gonna be crazy to me. Just like one. mistake. And then that's it. Yeah, that's usually what happens. One little mistake, and then you're screwed. I don't know if I could salvage this game. All right, this guy wants to talk. Let's see if he wants to talk now. I gotta make sure I just utilize the clock. I noticed last game he yeah, I noticed that. Now I gotta attack the middle here. Don't take that pawn, buddy. Think he thinks it's a free pawn. Let's get rid of that. I don't like that. Let's do this. Trying to trap this queen, huh? I don't think so, buddy. Let's do that. It's over. Let's see if he wants to run it back. All right, this will be my last one. Let's see. Moving a lot quicker this game. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, that works. Isn't that a? I thought that isn't that a free? Okay. Let's see if we can get rid of this. I wasted a lot of time with that. I didn't like that. It's gonna double my pawns. But if he takes that, I'm just gonna take. Let's do that. All right. I don't know if that was good for him. I could be off, though. I could be wrong. Let's do this. All right. I think I'm good there. I gotta move faster. I'm moving too slow right now. I just gotta double up these rooks, and I think I should be good. Yep. Yeah, I think I got this. Yep, I got this. Yep. All right, cool. Back over 1,300. Got 2 wins against this dude. Feels good. All right, guys. So, yes, I think it's going to be an interesting week. We have CPI data, PPI data coming out, and that's going to really maybe increase the percentage of getting a rate cut slightly, but I just think we're not going to get a rate cut this month. But I think it's fine. We got 3 back to back at the end of 2025. So I think those are going to be hitting the market, or the effect of those are going to be hitting the market this month. I think we will continue to get rate cuts this year. Obviously, just not this month. And there's a lot of positive catalysts coming out. For crypto, we got that Clarity Act to look out for, and I think it's a good time. If you're in altcoins, I think if you're already not in a quality project, you definitely want to be looking for projects that have utility, that are being used, that have usage, and in good numbers to back up the project. Because I don't think it's going. If you're people that are looking for an altcoin season, I do agree that it's probably going to be slightly different than past years, where everything's not going to go up. But in my honest opinion, if that's the criteria for altcoin season, I don't think we ever had an altcoin season, because I think a lot of coins went up during altcoin season in prior years, but it wasn't every coin. Not every coin did a 5 to 10x, maybe 1x, 2x, but just because everything else was going up. But for me, true altcoin season are those 5, 10, 20x's plus. So I think you just need to be in quality coins to get those type of gains. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.